Aaron was not like the other explorers. While most humans on the Galactic Council preferred study and diplomacy, Aaron liked the thrill of discovery. He loved wandering into the unknown, seeing new worlds and solving problems no one else dared to face. His ship, the Starseeker, was small but fast, and he knew every corner of it like the back of his hand. Today, however, his mission was routine, a simple survey of the planet Laraxis. That was until he noticed a signal that did not belong to the planet. From orbit, the planet looked calm. Its purple skies reflected on sparkling rivers that cut through green forests. Cities were small and orderly, with people walking along streets made of smooth crystal. Aaron had landed near one of these cities, expecting nothing unusual, but his scanners picked up a distress signal. It was weak, but it was human enough to recognize a call for help. He followed it quickly, leaving the safety of his ship. The signal led him to a dense forest. The trees were tall, with glowing leaves that lit the ground in soft hues of blue and violet. Birds with translucent wings flew silently above. Strange creatures peeked from behind the trees, curious about this human trespasser. Aaron moved cautiously, knowing he was alone. But he had faced danger before, and he trusted his instincts. After walking for what felt like an hour, he found the source of the signal. There, in a clearing, was a cage made of shining metal, hovering above the ground. Inside was a young woman with golden hair, tied in a braid. She wore a silver tunic and looked frightened. Aaron immediately realized she was not from this world. Her eyes held fear, but also a spark of hope when she saw him. "Who are you?" she whispered. "I am Aaron. I came to help," he replied. "Don't worry, I will get you out." The cage was protected by strange creatures, tall, muscular beings with green skin and glowing red eyes. They carried energy weapons that hummed with power. Aaron studied them carefully. He could not fight them head-on. There were too many, and they were stronger. Instead, he needed a plan. Humans were not the strongest species in the galaxy, but they were clever, quick thinkers. Aaron looked around. The trees here had thick branches, and some vines hung low. He noticed a cluster of rocks nearby that could be used for cover. Using his communicator, he whispered, "You need to be ready. I will distract them. When I say run," the princess, her name was Mira, as he learned in a few moments, nodded. She did not fully understand him, but she trusted that he would try to save her. Aaron took a deep breath and activated a small device from his belt. It sent out a bright pulse of light, blinding the guards for a few seconds. He moved quickly, using the trees for cover, keeping his body low. One of the aliens noticed him and raised a weapon, but Aaron had already rolled behind a tree. He could see the pulse had confused them. He took this chance to climb the tallest tree in the clearing. From this height, he could see the layout better. There were at least 6 guards and a few security drones hovering near the cage. The cage itself was suspended by energy beams, which were powered from a nearby device. If he could disrupt that device, the cage would drop, and Mira could escape. Aaron jumped from branch to branch with careful precision. Humans were not naturally strong climbers, like some alien species, but they had balance and ingenuity. He carried a small grappling hook, which he shot at the energy device. The hook latched onto the beam, and Aaron pulled with all his strength. Sparks flew, and one of the drones detected him. It fired a laser, but he ducked behind a tree. The beam from the device began to flicker, weakening the cage's hold. Mira watched silently, her heart pounding. She had never seen a human act like this. Humans were small and fragile compared to many galactic species. Yet Aaron moved with confidence, thinking faster than anyone around him. She felt hope rise in her chest. Finally, the energy beam failed, and the cage dropped to the ground. Aaron ran toward it, cutting the lock with a small energy tool. The aliens shouted and ran toward them, but Aaron grabbed Mira's hand and sprinted toward the forest. He knew he could not outrun all of them, so he used the terrain to his advantage. Fallen logs, thick bushes, and glowing streams slowed the aliens down. Aaron led Mira through a narrow path only he could navigate, using every trick he had learned in his adventures. After what felt like hours, they reached a cliff overlooking a river. Aaron pulled Mira to the edge. Below, the water was deep, and the current strong, but it was their only chance. He activated a small hoverboard and handed it to her. "Go, swim fast. I will cover you," he said. Mira nodded, her fear giving way to determination. She jumped onto the board and glided over the water, moving as quickly as she could. Aaron fired small energy pulses behind him to distract the aliens. He jumped after her, swimming with strength and endurance, humans often underestimated by the time they reached the far shore. The aliens had stopped chasing. Aaron and Mira collapsed, breathing heavily. They were safe for now, but Aaron knew this was only the beginning. "Thank you," Mira said, her voice trembling but full of gratitude. "I thought I would never escape." "You are safe now," Aaron replied. "We need to get to my ship. It is not far from here." They ran through the forest, following a path Aaron had memorized. As they walked, Myra asked questions about him. She wanted to understand how a human could do what seemed impossible. Aaron explained that humans survived not because of strength alone, but because of courage, creativity, and the will to act when others hesitate. Mira listened closely, her respect for him growing with every word. When they reached the clearing where the Starseeker was hidden, Aaron quickly scanned the area for threats. The ship was small, but fast, perfect for escaping dangerous situations. Mira climbed aboard, still nervous but relieved. Aaron initiated the launch sequence. The engines hummed, lifting them from the planet's surface. From orbit, Myra could see her kingdom in the distance. The cities were peaceful, unaware of the danger she had faced. She looked at Aaron with new admiration. "Humans are remarkable," she said softly. Aaron smiled, though he did not know how to respond fully. He had faced danger many times, but he had never been praised like this by royalty. "We do what we must," he said simply. As the Starseeker left the planet's orbit, Aaron realized that their journey was not over. Returning Myra safely would not be enough. Her father, the king, would have expectations. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy, and a human saving a princess would not go unnoticed. Aaron had rescued her, but he knew the consequences of heroism could be complicated. Mira sat beside him, staring out at the stars. "Do you think my father will be angry?" she asked quietly. Aaron considered this. He may be surprised. He may not understand humans, but you are safe, and that is what matters. For now, they focused on the journey ahead. The galaxy stretched before them, full of unknown worlds and dangers. But Aaron and Myra had survived together, forming a bond built on trust and courage. The princess had learned that humans could be more than fragile creatures. They could be clever, brave, and steadfast. And Aaron had learned that heroism sometimes brought unexpected responsibility as they traveled through the star-filled sky. Neither knew what awaited them. But one thing was certain. The human spirit had shone brightly today, and it would shine even brighter in the challenges to come. The rescue was only the beginning, and the story of the human who saved the princess was about to reach the ears of those who held power. Aaron understood that his actions had changed his life and hers forever. The Starseeker glided smoothly through the quiet stretches of space, leaving the planet Laraxis behind. Aaron sat at the controls, his hands steady on the console. Mira remained beside him, still silent for a few moments, her thoughts heavy with the events that had just unfolded. The adrenaline of the rescue had worn off, leaving a strange mixture of relief and worry. She looked at Aaron, the human who had risked everything to save her life. "You were very brave," she said softly, breaking the silence. "I do not know anyone else who could have done what you did." Aaron gave a modest smile. "Humans often survive in strange ways. We think, we adapt, we do not give up. That is how I got you out." Mira nodded, trying to understand. She had lived her life in the royal palace, surrounded by advisors and soldiers. Bravery was admired, but action like Aaron's was rare. Humans were outsiders in many worlds, often underestimated. She had seen firsthand how that perception was wrong. After a few hours of travel, the horizon of her home planet appeared. The blue ocean sparkled in the sunlight, and the city of her father's palace gleamed with crystal towers. Myra's heart pounded. She had survived, but returning meant facing her father, King Varen. And all the questions he would have. Aaron guided the ship to the palace docking bay. Guards rushed to meet them as the ship landed. Mira stepped forward, her posture straight and proud despite her fear. She had been rescued, but she was still the princess, and she would act as such. Aaron followed her, keeping a watchful eye on the surroundings. King Varen awaited them in the main hall. He was tall and commanding, with silver hair and a deep voice that filled the room. His eyes softened when he saw his daughter alive, and he quickly approached her. "Mira," he said, embracing her tightly. "I feared we would lose you. How did you escape?" Mira recounted the events briefly, careful not to sound overly fearful. She described the aliens, the cage, and how Aaron had saved her. King Varen listened intently, his eyes occasionally flicking to Aaron. The human remained calm, standing with quiet confidence. When Mira finished, the king turned fully to Aaron. "You are the human who saved my daughter." His voice carried a mixture of curiosity and authority. "I owe you my gratitude. You have risked your life for my family." Aaron bowed his head slightly. "It was necessary. You are safe now. That is all that matters." King Varen studied him closely. Aaron's calm and courage impressed him. He had expected humans to be weak or timid. This one was neither. But the king was not satisfied with mere words of thanks. He had a custom, a tradition that honored heroes, and in his world, the highest honor was marriage to one of his family. "Mira is my daughter," the king said firmly. "A life saved by a brave soul must be rewarded. You will marry her." Aaron froze. Marriage? He had not expected this. Saving the princess was never about reward. It had been instinct, necessity, and survival. He had no desire to marry, at least not immediately. Certainly not because of obligation. "King Varen," Aaron said carefully, "I am honored, but I am not ready for such a commitment. My life is not made for court or royalty. I am a traveler, an explorer. My duty was to save the princess, and I have done so." The king's expression hardened. "You misunderstand. This is not a request. It is a command. My daughter's life was endangered, and you intervened. You are now bound to our family, bound to honor." Mira looked between them, her mind racing. She had not expected marriage, and she had never thought of Aaron in that way. Yet she could not deny the admiration she felt. He had saved her, kept her calm, and guided her with patience. But this was a choice she was not ready to make. "Father," she said softly, "I respect your wishes, but I do not know if I am ready to marry anyone, even him. I need time." King Varen shook his head. "Time is a luxury we cannot afford. Others in the galaxy will hear of your rescue. Humans are rare. The Union will show our respect and gratitude. It is fitting and proper." Aaron felt the weight of the king's words. He understood the importance of cultural traditions, but he also valued choice and freedom. He did not want to disrespect the princess or her father, yet he could not accept a decision made without consent. "I cannot force a choice," he said carefully, "but I will remain here to help in any way I can. My purpose was to ensure safety, and I will continue to do so." King Varen's eyes narrowed, but he finally nodded. "Very well. You will stay under observation. The council will decide the proper ceremony. Until then, you must be near my daughter." Mira and Aaron were assigned quarters near the palace. The rooms were spacious, with soft light and fine furniture, yet Aaron felt out of place. He was not used to luxury. His life had been one of simplicity, exploration, and danger. Now he was surrounded by riches and rules. Mira, on the other hand, felt torn. She admired Aaron, but resented the sudden expectation of marriage. She wanted to know him better, understand the human world, and see if their bond could grow naturally. She did not want to be forced. Over the next days, Aaron and Mira spent time together, learning from each other. Aaron showed her how humans think under pressure, how quick problem-solving and creativity could solve impossible problems. Mira shared her knowledge of her world, the politics, and the duties of royalty. They found respect in each other's strengths. During one walk through the palace gardens, Mira asked, "Do humans always act this way? So brave, so clever?" Aaron smiled. "Not always. We have fear and doubt like everyone else. But humans can adapt, think fast, and act when it matters. That is how we survive. Mira considered this. She realized that humans were underestimated, just as her father had once thought. Aaron's actions had shown her that bravery was not about strength alone. It was about heart, mind, and courage. Meanwhile, whispers in the palace grew. Courtiers spoke of the human who saved the princess, questioning whether someone so different could truly be part of the royal family. Some doubted his worth, while others admired his bravery. Aaron ignored the whispers. He had never sought approval. His actions spoke louder than words. One evening, King Varen summoned them to the council hall. "The time has come to make the announcement," he said. "The galaxy will hear of your heroism, Aaron, and the bond that must follow. You will marry my daughter, and it will honor our worlds." Mira felt a surge of frustration. She looked at Aaron, whose calm expression gave her strength. "Father, please," she said. "I need a choice. I cannot marry without understanding what this means for me." The king's face was stern. "Choice is not always possible in matters of honor. You will learn respect, and you will honor the human who saved your life." King Varen, with all respect, I cannot accept a bond imposed by obligation. My actions were to save Mira, not to gain favor. She must have a choice, as must I. The room fell silent. Courtiers whispered among themselves, and Mira's heart pounded. The king stared at Aaron for a long moment, then spoke. "Perhaps the human spirit is not fully understood," King Varen said slowly. "You value freedom, choice, and courage. These are admirable traits, but the rules of our world must still be considered." Aaron nodded. "I will follow the rules of your world, but I ask that you allow us the time to understand each other before any decisions are made. That is the honor I offer." Mira looked at her father, hope shining in her eyes. "Father, if we are to honor the human, let it be through respect, understanding, and trust, not through obligation." The king considered her words. After a long pause, he finally spoke. "Very well. Time will be granted. But remember, the eyes of the galaxy are upon us. Respect and courage must guide your actions." Mira exhaled, relief washing over her. Aaron gave a small nod. They had been granted a chance to know each other, to grow naturally. Their bond would not be forced. For the first time since the rescue, they felt a sense of possibility. That night, Aaron looked out over the city from his quarters. Stars twinkled in the sky above, distant and silent. He thought of the rescue, the aliens, and the courage it had taken. Humans were small, fragile, and underestimated, but their minds and hearts were powerful. He had proved it once today, and he would prove it again if needed. Mira came to stand beside him. "Do you think we will ever truly understand each other?" she asked quietly. Aaron smiled. "I do not know. But I do know that trying is what matters. Humans survive through effort, courage, and hope. That is all we can offer." Mira nodded, a smile touching her lips. "Then let us try together." And so, the human who had saved the princess and the princess who had been saved began a journey not just through space, but through understanding, trust, and the discovery of what it truly meant to be brave, kind, and human. Days passed in the royal palace, and Aaron found himself walking through vast halls filled with glittering light. The walls were made of shining crystal, and the ceilings stretched high, decorated with delicate patterns that caught the sunlight. It was beautiful, but it was also overwhelming for a human used to smaller, simpler spaces. He walked carefully, not wanting to bump into anyone or disrupt the routines of the palace. Mira was beside him, guiding him through the unfamiliar environment. She had grown used to his presence, though not completely to the idea of the enforced bond her father expected. They were learning each other's habits, and slowly, respect and understanding began to form. "You must understand our customs," Mira said as they passed the council room. "Even small gestures matter here. Respect is shown in subtle ways." Aaron nodded. "I will try. Humans often act differently, but I can learn." Their first challenge came when they were invited to a formal gathering. Courtiers from neighboring planets attended, observing every action of the princess and her unusual companion. Aaron noticed whispers as soon as they entered the hall. Some eyes were filled with curiosity, others with doubt. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Few understood them, and even fewer respected their abilities. The king introduced Aaron as the human who had saved the princess, highlighting his bravery. Many in the council looked skeptical. A human? To be part of the royal family? One elder whispered. Aaron did not respond to the whispers. Instead, he focused on observing the environment. He noticed the layout of the room, the positions of the guards, and the way people moved. Humans had survived in dangerous situations for centuries because they noticed what others missed. Even in a palace, Aaron's mind stayed sharp. During the gathering, a problem arose. One of the energy fields protecting the palace's core began to flicker. If it failed, the palace could be vulnerable to outside threats. Many of the court engineers were confused and hesitant to act quickly. Aaron stepped forward. "Allow me," he said calmly. He examined the device and found that a minor alignment error had caused the instability. With quick adjustments, using only basic tools he carried, Aaron stabilized the energy field. The lights brightened, and the hum of power returned to normal. The courtiers gasped. "A human fixed the energy core," one exclaimed. "How is this possible?" King Varun nodded proudly. "You see their value? Humans think differently. Their minds can solve problems that others may not." Mira looked at Aaron with new admiration. "You are extraordinary," she whispered. "Not just in courage, but in skill and thought. I am beginning to understand why your people survive in so many worlds." Aaron smiled modestly. "We adapt. We see solutions where others may only see obstacles. That is how we survive." The incident brought a shift in perception. Some courtiers began to respect him, though a few still doubted. Aaron did not seek approval. For him, the truth of human ability was enough. Over the next weeks, Aaron continued to show his ingenuity. When a diplomatic robot malfunctioned during a meeting, he quickly repaired it with makeshift tools. When the palace's water purification system faced contamination, Aaron designed a simple filtration device that worked immediately. Each time, he demonstrated that humans could bring practical solutions in situations where others relied only on rigid rules or complex technology. Mira watched these events closely. She realized that Aaron's heroism went beyond bravery. It was in his patience, intelligence, and willingness to act when necessary. She began to see that a human's value was not measured by strength or wealth, but by the combination of courage, thought, and heart. However, not everything was smooth. Some members of the council grew envious. They whispered that the human was gaining influence too quickly, that he was too clever for his station. They plotted to create challenges that would test his abilities further. One morning, a new crisis arrived. A neighboring planet, known for its aggressive tactics, sent a delegation demanding resources from King Varen's planet. The council panicked, unsure how to respond. The human, who had never ruled a kingdom or led armies, stepped forward with an idea. "Diplomacy is not just about words," Aaron said. "It is about understanding motives and presenting solutions that benefit both sides. Let us propose a trade agreement where both planets gain resources and respect instead of threatening conflict." The council looked skeptical. A human negotiating with alien rulers? It seemed impossible. But Aaron remained calm. He studied the delegation's behavior, noting their priorities and fears. He drafted a plan that included exchanges of knowledge, materials, and even shared technology. When the human presented the plan, it was clear, simple, and fair. The delegation considered it. At first, they were suspicious, but the logic and clarity of Aaron's proposal convinced them. A treaty was signed, preventing war and earning King Varen's planet respect across the galaxy. Mira could not hide her pride. "You are remarkable," she said. "I've never seen such understanding and cleverness. Humans truly are something different." Aaron shook his head slightly. "We are not perfect, but we value life, fairness, and action." That combination allows us to survive and help others. The political success brought attention and more challenges. Citizens began to approach Aaron for advice on small matters, seeing his solutions as practical and fair. The royal family began to trust him more deeply. And even King Varen acknowledged that the human had earned a place of respect. Despite the growing admiration, challenges continued. Myra's personal feelings were still uncertain. She admired him, respected him, but she did not yet feel love. She understood the importance of choice, and she refused to let duty force her heart. Aaron understood and never pressured her, earning her respect in return. One day, during training in the palace gardens, Aaron taught Mira some human survival techniques. He explained how to navigate difficult terrain, use limited tools effectively, and think quickly under pressure. Mira found herself learning not only skills but confidence. She began to see that courage was not limited to battle, but to facing one's fears and doubts. "You are teaching me more than survival," Mira said. "You are teaching me to think, to act, to understand the world differently." Aaron smiled. That is the strength of humans. We adapt, we learn, and we help those who need it. Survival is more than fighting. It is understanding and planning. The relationship between human and princess deepened. It was not a romantic love yet, but a growing trust and admiration. Mira learned to appreciate the human spirit, and Aaron began to understand the complexity and responsibilities of royalty. Together, they navigated palace life, political challenges, and cultural differences. Yet, tension remained. Some members of the council still doubted Aaron's value. They challenged him at every opportunity, setting tasks that tested his intellect, patience, and morality. But each time, Aaron's human qualities shone. He solved problems with cleverness and fairness, never relying solely on strength. Through these trials, the HFY theme became clear. Humanity's qualities, ingenuity, courage, morality, and adaptability were not only survival traits, but also tools for building trust and respect in a galaxy full of powerful species. Aaron's presence in the palace was changing minds. The humans were no longer outsiders, but examples of what cleverness and courage could achieve. One evening, Mira and Aaron walked along the palace balcony, overlooking the city lights. "Do you think they will ever fully accept you?" Myra asked. Aaron looked out at the sparkling city below. "Some may always doubt, but actions speak louder than words. As long as I act with honesty and courage, humans will be respected. It is not about pleasing everyone, but showing what we can do." Mira smiled, her respect and admiration for him growing stronger. "Then continue to show them. I will support you." Aaron felt a quiet warmth. He had never sought recognition, yet it was meaningful to see someone value the human spirit. Myra's support meant more than praise from 1,000 councils. Together, they would face the challenges ahead. As the stars began to shine above the palace, Aaron understood that the trials of acceptance were only the beginning. Humans had proven their worth, but their journey in a galaxy full of doubt, danger, and difference was far from over. And Mira, once a frightened princess, had begun to see the strength and courage that a human could bring, both to her world and to her life. The bond between them was growing, not from obligation, but from respect, understanding, and shared experience. The challenges of palace life, political tension, and cultural expectations would continue, but with human ingenuity and courage. They were ready to face whatever the galaxy might send. And so, the human who had saved the princess and the princess who had been saved continued their journey, proving that human qualities could shine even in worlds where they were least expected, earning trust, admiration, and perhaps, one day, true love. The calm of the palace was broken one quiet morning. Aaron was walking with Mira through the gardens when alarms echoed across the city. Red lights flashed, and the hum of defensive systems activated. Soldiers ran to stations, and the courtiers looked anxious. Myra's heart jumped. Danger had returned, and she feared it might be worse than before. King Varen appeared quickly, his expression grave. "It seems the alien clan that kidnapped Mira has returned. They are stronger this time. We must prepare." Aaron immediately assessed the situation. He had faced these aliens once and had survived by thinking quickly and using human ingenuity. "We need a plan that uses both defense and strategy," he said. "Rushing into battle without thought will cost lives." Myra stood beside him. She had grown since her rescue, learning to act calmly under pressure. "What can we do, Aaron?" she asked. "We use what we have and think ahead. Humans are not the strongest, but we can outsmart them," he replied. The palace prepared for the approaching threat. Soldiers lined the walls, defensive turrets powered up, and energy shields formed around key buildings. The aliens were approaching in massive ships, their weapons glowing ominously. Many soldiers doubted they could withstand the attack, but Aaron remained calm. He had a plan. "We cannot match their firepower," he explained to the king and his generals. "But we can create traps, use diversions, and strike at weak points. Predictable defense will fail. We need unpredictability, cleverness, and timing." The council was skeptical. They had relied on traditional tactics for centuries, but Aaron's calm confidence persuaded them to try his plan. The first part of his strategy involved luring the aliens into narrow passages around the palace. Large energy barriers were activated, channeling the attackers toward controlled areas. Aaron had calculated the paths carefully, using topography and city design to limit the aliens' movements. Next, Aaron deployed decoy drones. They looked like soldiers from a distance, moving in ways designed to distract the enemy. The aliens fired on them, wasting energy and revealing their positions. Human ingenuity was at work. Mira watched from the command balcony, amazed. "You are turning their strength against them," she said. "I never thought strategy could be this effective," Aaron nodded. "Humans survive by thinking, not just fighting. If we can outthink them, we can survive even the strongest attacks." As the alien ships entered the controlled area, the palace defenses activated traps. Energy nets captured some attackers, while automated systems disabled others. The aliens were confused. They expected brute force to win, but humans fought differently. They used planning, observation, and quick adaptation. Aaron led a small team of elite soldiers to strike at the alien command ship. They moved quickly and quietly, using stealth rather than strength. Aaron's knowledge of the alien technology allowed them to avoid detection. The team disabled key systems, causing chaos among the attackers. Mira followed closely, helping coordinate defenses from the palace. She had learned to trust Aaron's judgment completely. His calm under pressure inspired the soldiers, and his clever plans allowed them to act efficiently. The battle escalated. Explosions lit the skies as alien ships clashed with palace defenses. Humans were outnumbered, but every move they made disrupted the attackers. Aaron anticipated their tactics, countering with ingenious traps and diversions. The aliens began to realize that brute strength alone would not win this battle. In the midst of the chaos, one of the alien commanders attempted to breach the palace gates. Aaron saw the threat immediately. He activated a series of magnetic fields, redirecting the alien vehicle into a canyon outside the city. The move required precise timing and quick calculation, but it worked perfectly. The alien was trapped, unable to continue the attack. Mira looked on, awe in her eyes. "I have never seen anyone think so fast," she said. "You are not just brave, Aaron. You are brilliant." Aaron shook his head. "Humans are not perfect. We rely on thought, observation, and courage. That combination allows us to survive and protect others." The aliens, realizing their plan had failed, attempted to retreat. But Aaron was not done. He devised a final trap, using the city's terrain to block escape routes and force their ships into disarmament zones. The aliens were caught off guard again. They had expected humans to run or surrender, but instead, humans fought with cleverness, in precision, and unyielding determination. By nightfall, the battle was over. The alien clan had retreated, their ships scattered and damaged. The city had suffered minor damage, but no lives were lost. Humans and soldiers alike celebrated quietly, aware of the victory they had earned through thought and courage rather than brute force. "King," Ivaron approached Aaron and Mira. I have seen enough to know that humans are more than I imagined, he said. You have saved us again, not with strength alone, but with intellect, strategy, and bravery. I owe you more than words can express. Myra stepped forward. Father Aaron has shown that courage is not only about fighting, it is about thinking, planning, and acting wisely. He has saved our world, and he deserves respect beyond duty or custom. The king nodded slowly. Indeed, you have proven your worth, human, not only to me, but to all who doubted your people. Aaron felt a quiet pride. He had never sought glory, but the recognition of human ingenuity and courage mattered. Myra had understood it, the king had acknowledged it, and the soldiers had learned it firsthand. Humans were not weak, fragile creatures. They were capable of extraordinary things when their minds and hearts worked together. The princess and the human spent the night discussing the battle. Mira asked questions, wanting to understand the decisions Aaron had made. He explained each choice, the risks, and the reasoning. Mira realized that humans survived not because they were strongest, but because they were clever, adaptable, and brave. You think of everything, Mira said. I never knew strategy could be so powerful. I have lived in this palace all my life, yet I learned more in one day from you than in years of study. Aaron smiled. That is the strength of humans. We learn quickly, adapt to our surroundings, and use what we have to solve problems. It is not about strength alone. It is about courage, thought, and action. Mira nodded. She felt admiration, respect, and a growing trust. She had faced danger before, but with Aaron, she had felt safe in ways she could not explain. He had protected her, guided her, and taught her to see the world differently. In the days after the battle, the palace repaired damage and strengthened defenses. Aaron worked with engineers and soldiers, teaching techniques to improve efficiency and safety. His human perspective brought fresh ideas that were both practical and effective. The council members who had doubted him before began to respect his insight. They saw that humans could bring solutions where others relied on tradition alone. The HFY theme became evident. Human qualities of ingenuity, courage, and adaptability were powerful forces that could influence entire worlds. Mira and Aaron spent time together, not as a princess and a protector, but as equals learning from each other. Mira's admiration for Aaron grew. She saw the human spirit as something extraordinary, capable of facing impossible odds and still finding a way to succeed. One evening, Mira turned to Aaron as they walked through the palace gardens. Do you think humans are really different from us? She asked. Aaron thought carefully. We are different in ways that matter. Strength is not everything. Cleverness, courage, and the willingness to act are what define us. That is why humans survive and sometimes succeed where others fail. Myra nodded. Then I am beginning to understand. Your people are remarkable not just for heroism, but for heart and mind. Aaron smiled. That is the human way. We face challenges, we adapt, and we never give up. That is how we protect those we care for and survive in the galaxy. As stars twinkled above the palace, Mira realized that the human who had saved her life was more than a hero. He was a teacher, a guide, and someone who had opened her eyes to a new way of thinking. The aliens had returned, but humanity had proven that even the smallest and seemingly weakest could triumph through courage, intelligence, and will. And so, the threat that returned to challenge them became a lesson in human ingenuity. Aaron had shown that bravery alone was not enough. Thinking, planning, and acting wisely were equally important. Myra and the palace had witnessed firsthand that humans were not to be underestimated. The battle was over. But the story of human courage and cleverness would continue. Aaron and Mira had formed a bond built on trust, respect, and shared experience. The princess had begun to see the true power of the human spirit, and Aaron had shown that survival, protection, and heroism were about more than strength. They were about heart, mind, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. The galaxy would soon know that humans were remarkable. And the princess who had once been captured now understood the value of a human, not just as a savior, but as an equal and trusted companion. The palace was quiet after the recent attack. The city had survived, the alien threat had retreated, and the citizens were safe. Yet tension remained in the halls of the royal palace. King Varone had seen the strength, courage, and cleverness of Aaron, the human who had saved his daughter twice. But the question of marriage still loomed over them. Aaron walked through the gardens with Mira, the night air cool against their skin. Stars sparkled above like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Mira felt a calmness she had never known before. The bond between them was no longer just about her rescue. It had grown into trust, understanding, and respect. "Aaron," Mira began, her voice soft, "do you think my father will ever truly allow us freedom of choice?" Aaron shook his head slightly. "I do not know. Some traditions are strong, and some hearts are stubborn. But he has already seen what humans can do. We have proven our courage, our intellect, and our will. That matters." Mira nodded. "I have learned so much from you. About thinking, courage, and adapting. I feel stronger with you here," Aaron smiled. "Humans survive through knowledge, courage, and heart. If you use those qualities, you can face anything. That includes your father's expectations." The next morning, the king summoned them to the council chamber. Soldiers, advisors, and courtiers gathered, their faces a mix of curiosity and doubt. King Varen's expression was solemn, but there was a new respect in his eyes for the human at his side. "You have saved this kingdom twice," the king began. "You have demonstrated skill, courage, and intelligence beyond what I expected from a human. The council acknowledges your abilities and your value to this world." Aaron bowed slightly. "I acted because it was necessary, not for recognition. My goal has always been protection, not glory." The king nodded. "And yet, your actions have proven one truth. Humans are clever, adaptable, and brave. Your presence here has shown us the importance of thought and courage over brute strength. For that, you are honored." Mira watched closely. Her father paused, then looked at her and Aaron together. "And now, we come to the matter that has concerned us all. The bond between you? I have insisted on marriage because it was my duty to honor the one who saved my daughter. But I have also seen your choices, your hearts, and your character. Therefore, I will not impose a decision. That choice is yours, as it should be." Myra's eyes widened. Aaron's calm expression remained, but inside, he felt relief. The king was finally allowing them to decide freely, without obligation. "I need to think," Myra said softly. "I want to understand my feelings, and I want to understand his, before making a decision. I do not want duty to dictate my heart." King Varen nodded. "That is wise, Mira. Respect, understanding, and trust must guide all important choices." "Take your time," Aaron stepped forward. "Thank you, Your Majesty. That is all any human could ask. Freedom of choice honors courage and honesty." Days turned into weeks as Aaron and Mira spent time together, learning from each other and growing as individuals. They shared meals, trained, and discussed ideas. Aaron taught Mira how humans think under pressure, how to plan ahead, and how to remain calm in dangerous situations. Myra shared her knowledge of politics, diplomacy, and leadership. Together, they became a team of equals, each teaching the other lessons that could not be learned from books alone. Mira began to admire Aaron not only for his bravery, but also for his wisdom and thoughtfulness. She realized that his actions were guided not by ego or desire for power, but by care and understanding. Humans, she learned, were more than their appearance. They were defined by heart, courage, and intellect. One afternoon, as they practiced in the training grounds, Mira paused and looked at Aaron. "You have taught me more than anyone else ever could," she said. "Not just about survival, but about courage, respect, and thinking clearly." "I feel stronger because of you," Aaron nodded. "That is all humans can offer. We survive through thought, action, and heart. We help those we care for. That is our strength." Myra smiled, feeling admiration and trust grow inside her. She realized she had feelings beyond respect, feelings of deep care for the human who had risked everything for her. Aaron, who had faced countless dangers, remained calm but attentive. Sensing the change in her, meanwhile King Varen observed quietly. He had seen the growth of their bond. The princess had begun to understand the human spirit. And Aaron had earned respect not just through heroism but through character and thought. The king knew now that a choice made from understanding and heart was far more valuable than one imposed by duty or tradition. A week later, news arrived of a neighboring planet seeking alliance. The council turned to Aaron for advice, knowing that humans often thought differently. Aaron studied the problem carefully, considering both sides' motivations. He proposed a solution that involved trade, shared resources, and mutual respect. The council was impressed. The negotiation succeeded without conflict, further proving that humans could offer wisdom, insight, and strategy where others relied on tradition or power alone. King Varen nodded with approval. Once again, your people have shown value beyond expectation. Humans think, adapt, and act with courage. That is the lesson for all of us. Mira turned to Aaron. You have not only saved me and our kingdom, but you have also shown me a new way to face the world. You have changed how I see people, strength and courage. Aaron smiled softly. That is what humans do. We face challenges, adapt, and act with heart. We survive and help others along the way. Finally, the day came when Myra and Aaron were alone in the gardens. The city was peaceful, the air warm with sunlight. Mira looked at Aaron, her heart full of clarity. I have made my choice, she said quietly. Aaron turned to her, attentive and calm. I am listening. Myra took a deep breath. I choose you, not because of duty, obligation, or reward, but because I trust you, respect you, and care for you. I want to be with you if you feel the same. Aaron's eyes softened. I have never sought reward or duty, but I respect you, admire your courage and wisdom, and care for you. I would be honored to share my life with you. The bond between them was now a choice, made freely and with understanding. King Varen would hear the news with pride, knowing that his daughter had chosen wisely, and that the human who had saved their world had earned not only respect but love. When they returned to the palace, the king greeted them with a warm smile. I am proud of your choices, he said. You have shown that respect, understanding, and heart are more important than duty or obligation. Your bond honors both your worlds. The council, courtiers, and soldiers all witnessed the acceptance of their decision. Humans, once underestimated, were now recognized not just as capable, but as essential allies in the galaxy. Aaron's courage, ingenuity, and character had earned him admiration and trust. Mira's choice reflected the lessons of respect, thought, and understanding she had learned from him that night. As stars twinkled above the palace, Aaron and Mira stood together on the balcony. The city lights reflected in their eyes, a symbol of victory, growth, and hope. We have faced danger, challenges, and doubt, Mira said softly. But together, we have learned courage, trust, and understanding. Aaron nodded. Humans survive and succeed because of heart, courage, and thought. We act when it matters most. Together, we will face whatever comes next. The palace, once a place of rules and expectations, had become a place of learning, respect, and collaboration. The kingdom had seen that strength is not measured by size or power alone, but by courage, intellect, and morality. Humans had proven their worth, not through force alone, but through ingenuity, perseverance, and character. Mira and Aaron had found their bond not through duty, not through obligation, but through choice. Respect and understanding guided them. And the human spirit had once again proven its value. As the night deepened, the galaxy seemed vast and full of possibilities. Together, the princess and the humans stood ready, not only as companions, but as symbols of courage, respect, and hope. They had faced impossible odds, and they had triumphed not because they were strongest, but because they were human, clever, and brave. The story of the human who saved the princess who learned to trust, and the king who respected choice became a tale of inspiration across planets. It was a story of heroism, intelligence, and the strength of the human spirit. And for Aaron and Mira, It was only the beginning of a shared life built on understanding, trust, and courage. The galaxy had witnessed what humans could achieve, and in that knowledge, hope, respect, and admiration flourished.